NFL free agency is only a couple of days away, and the New England Patriots have been connected to multiple wide receivers. There was a report going around a couple of days ago that the Patriots had interest in exploring a trade for Panthers wide receiver Robbie Anderson, and now with the reports out there that the Dallas Cowboys are expected to either release or trade wide receiver Amari Cooper, the Patriots, along with the Miami Dolphins and the Washington Commanders, have expressed interest in acquiring Amari Cooper. And I think Amari Cooper could be what the Patriots need to take their offense to the next level. And Amari Cooper could have a similar impact to what Stefon Diggs had on the Buffalo Bills when they acquired him in a trade with the Minnesota Vikings not too long ago. And also, you got to remember that the Patriots have a young quarterback in Mac Jones who had a really good rookie season. He made it to the Pro Bowl. He was the best rookie quarterback of the past year. So what does New England need to do to help further progress Mac Jones along in his development? Well, bringing in a legitimate number one wide receiver could be the number one thing in helping Mac Jones develop, because you saw what happened to the trajectory of Josh Allen's career in terms of where he was in his development before the Buffalo Bills traded for Stefon Diggs and after they traded for Stefon Diggs. Because before Stefon Diggs arrived in Buffalo, Josh Allen was coming off a solid season. It wasn't nothing spectacular up to the level of what he's doing now, but it was a really solid season. So then after that, Buffalo trades for Stefon Diggs, and Josh Allen ascends from being a solid quarterback coming off a solid season to becoming in that elite quarterback conversation. And then you look at Amari Cooper, Amari Cooper is one of the better wide receivers in the league. The problem with Amari Cooper is that he's pretty inconsistent. Last season, he caught 65 receptions for 865 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. Those numbers were down compared to what he did the season previously in 2020 when he caught 92 passes for 1,114 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. In 2019, 79 receptions for 1,189 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. Like, Amari Cooper throughout his career in Dallas has been pretty good. However, he has had some inconsistent moments, and that has been the big knock on Amari Cooper throughout his NFL career. But with him going to New England, I'm pretty sure Bill Belichick and whoever he's going to have assisting him on the offensive side of the football is going to make sure that Amari Cooper is going to be the forefront of the offensive attack when it comes to the passing game for New England. On top of that, New England already has a pretty solid group of wide receivers. Like, the only thing that New England is really lacking in the wide receiver room is the threat of a legitimate number one option. Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, they're not bad options. However, they're really good number 2, number 3 options. If you need Kendrick Bourne or a Jacoby Myers to be your best wide receiver, you're in trouble. Then you brought in Nelson Agholor. He didn't really pan out all that well. There's reports that New England potentially could move on from him. So you bring in an Amari Cooper, a legitimate number 1. He's going to take some of the pressure off of your other wide receivers like a Jacoby Myers and a Kendrick Bourne. And with Amari Cooper having to demand a little bit more attention from the secondary, that's going to kind of give Jacoby Myers and Kendrick Bourne's easier looks and easier opportunities to have a bigger impact in the passing game with the addition of Amari Cooper. On top of that, you give Mac Jones a legitimate wide receiver who he can trust in, third and long situations or in critical situations in the game when you need a big play. That's what Amari Cooper could bring to the Patriots offense. And with Mac Jones, we know what Mac Jones is able to do when he has time to throw the football. However, his wide receivers kind of let him down at times last season with drops, not being able to consistently create separation. So with Amari Cooper, you have a guy who's one of the better route runners in the league. You have a guy who's really good at creating separation. It's just the consistency game in, game out. Are you going to be able to get that out of Amari Cooper? And if he goes to New England, I think that you're going to be able to get a guy who's going to be able to get you 1,200 receiving yards every year. You're going to have a guy who's going to be able to get you 80, 90 receptions. And Mac Jones is definitely going to make sure that he gets him the ball. The Patriots are going to make sure that Amari Cooper gets his targets. Now, also, Amari Cooper is going to be really big in helping elevate Mac Jones, because the Patriots are only going to go as far as Mac Jones takes them. Like, we keep asking who's going to be in the Super Bowl window, who's going to be in the Super Bowl conversation. Well, the Patriots definitely could be one of those teams who could be in that Super Bowl conversation in terms of teams who could represent the AFC and the Super Bowl next season. However, that's all going to be determined based on the play of Mac Jones. And to help Mac Jones perform at the highest level possible, it's really important that the Patriots are able to get him a true number one wide receiver who he can trust in any situation. And Amari Cooper definitely could be what the Patriots need offensively. Now, there are also some other wide receivers out there who New England possibly could bring in with some upside, such as a DJ Chark or Christian Kirk. But I really feel like Amari Cooper, with him, you don't really have the questions that you would when it comes to a Christian Kirk or DJ Chark, because you already know what Amari Cooper can do when he's playing at his best. While signing guys like Christian Kirk and DJ Chark, yeah, you may be able to save a little bit of money if you're not able to trade for Amari Cooper. However, like with those guys, you're kind of hoping and that you're kind of swinging for those guys to hit and reach those potential that everybody says that they have. However, with Amari Cooper, you already know the potential that he has on display. You just have to make sure that you're able to get him the ball. So for New England, if Dallas doesn't want to trade him and they decide to release him, you're probably going to be in a bidding war. And a lot of the Patriots fans are going to say, JT, why would we trade for Amari Cooper when we can just wait for the Dallas Cowboys to release him? Well, if you wait for Dallas to release him, then you're going to be in the bidding war with other teams who may offer more money for Amari Cooper to play for their organizations than what you would like to offer. And therefore, you might lose out on the opportunity of getting Amari Cooper. So if you trade for Amari Cooper, what would you possibly have to give up? Like if you're New England, are you okay with giving away a first round pick for Amari Cooper? Like, I don't think it would be anything wrong with the Patriots getting rid of a first round pick for Amari Cooper. And the reason why I wouldn't have a problem with New England trading away their first round selection in the trade for Amari Cooper is because, like, if you are already going to select a wide receiver with that first round selection anyway, then you might as well go ahead and trade it in a trade package for Amari Cooper, somebody who's already proven. You don't have to worry about, is he going to pan out? Like anytime you draft any draft prospect, there's a 50-50 chance that they're going to hit and that they're going to be bust. So why would you go ahead and take that risk when you can already get somebody who's already proven what he can do? Is only about, how does he fit in the offense and how are you going to get him the ball? So I think that Amari Cooper most definitely could be what the New England Patriots need to make their offense elite.